Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My name is Daniel, and I'm the Vegan Nazarite. Today, we're going to be doing Torah reading number 4, which is called Va-yera, and that would be Genesis 18:1 to Genesis 22:24. And for the prophets today, we're going to be going to 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 1 to 37. Genesis chapter 18. The Lord appeared to him by the terebinth of Mamre. He was sitting at the entrance of the tent as the day grew hot. Looking up, he saw 3 men standing near him. As soon as he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to greet them, and bowing to the ground, he said, "My lords, if it please you, do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought. Bathe your feet and recline under the tree. Let me fetch a morsel of bread that you may refresh yourselves. Then go on. Seeing that you have come your servant's way." They replied, "Do as you said." Abraham hastened to the tent to Sarah and said, "Quick, 3 seahs of choice flour. Knead and make cakes." Then Abraham ran to the herd, took a calf, tender and choice, and gave it to a servant boy who hastened to prepare it. He took curds and milk and the calf that had been prepared and set these before them, and he waited on them under the tree as they ate. They said to him, "Where is your wife, Sarah?" And he replied, "There in the tent." Then one said, "I will return to you next year, and your wife Sarah shall have a son." Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years. Sarah had stopped having the periods of woman. And Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "Now that I am withered, am I to have enjoyment with my husband so old?" Then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, 'Shall I in truth bear a child, old as I am?' Is anything too wondrous for the Lord? I will return to you at the same season next year, and Sarah shall have a son." Sarah lied, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was frightened. But he replied, "You did laugh." The men set out from there and looked down towards Sodom, Abraham walking with them to see them off. Now the Lord had said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what am I about to do? Since Abraham is to become a great and populous nation, and all the nations of the earth are to be blessed themselves by him. For I have singled him out, that he may instruct his children and his posterity to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is just and right, in order that the Lord may bring about for Abraham what he has promised him." Then the Lord said, "The outrage of Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin so grave. I will go down to see whether they have acted altogether according to the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will take note." The men went on from there to Sodom, while Abraham remained standing before the Lord. Abraham came forward and said, "Will you sweep away the innocent along with the guilty? What if there should be 50 innocent within the city? You will then wipe out the place and not forgive for the sake of the innocent, 50 who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to bring death upon the innocent as well as the guilty, so that the innocent and guilty fare alike. Far it be from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth deal justly?" And the Lord answered, "If I find within the city of Sodom 50 innocent ones, I will forgive the whole place for their sake." Abraham spoke up, saying, "Here, I venture to speak to my Lord. Who am I but dust and ashes? What if the 50 innocent should lack 5? Will you destroy the whole city for want of the 5? And he answered, I will not destroy it if I find 45 there." But he spoke to him again and said, "What if 40 should be found there?" And he answered, "I will not do it for the sake of the 40." And he said, "Let not my Lord be angry if I go on. What if 30 should be found there?" And he answered, "I will not do it if I find 30 there." And he said, "I venture again to speak from my Lord. What if 20 should be found there?" And he answered, "I will not destroy for the sake of 20. And he said, "Let not my Lord be angry if I speak but this last time. What if 10 should be found there?" And he answered, "I will not destroy for the sake of 10. When the Lord had finished speaking to Abraham, he departed. Abraham returned to his place. Chapter 19. The two angels arrived in Sodom in the evening, as Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to greet them. And, bowing low with his face to the ground, he said, "Please, my lords, turn aside your servant's house to spend the night and bathe your feet. Then you may be on your way early." But they said, "No, we will spend the night in the square." But he urged them strongly, so they turned his way and entered his house. He prepared a feast for them and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. They had not yet lain down when the townspeople, the men of Sodom, young and old, all the people to the last man, gathered about the house. And they shouted to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them to us, so that we may be intimate with them." So Lot went out to them to the entrance, shut the door behind him, and said, "I beg you, my friends, do not commit such a wrong. Look, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them as you please. But do not do anything to these men, since they have come under shelter of my roof." But they said, "Stand back. The fellow," they said, "came here as an alien, and already he acts as a ruler. Now we will deal worse with you than with them." And they pressed hard against the person of Lot and moved forward to break the door. But the men stretched out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. And the people who were at the entrance of the house, young and old, they struck with a blinding light, so that they were helpless to find the entrance. Then the men said to Lot, "Whom else have you here? Son-in-laws, your son and daughters, or anyone else that you have in the city? Bring them out of this place. For we are about to destroy this place, because the outcry against them before the Lord has become so great that the Lord has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-law, who had married his daughters, and said, "Up, get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city." But he seemed to his sons-in-law as one who jests. As the dawn broke, the angels urged Lot on, saying, "Up, take your wife and your 2 remaining daughters, lest you be swept away because of the iniquity of the city." Still he delayed. So the man seized his hand and the hand of his wife and his 2 daughters in the Lord's mercy on him, and brought him out and left him outside the city. When they had brought them outside, one said, "Flee for your life. Do not look behind, nor stop anywhere in the plains. Flee to the hills, lest you be swept away." But Lot said to them, "Oh no, my lord, you have been so gracious to your servant, and have already shown me so much kindness in order to save my life. But I cannot flee to the hills, lest the disaster overtake me and I die. Look, that town there is near enough to flee to. It is such a little place. Let me flee there. It is such a little place, and let my life be saved." He replied, "Very well, I will grant you this favor too, and I will not annihilate the town for which you have spoken. Hurry, flee there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there. Hence, the town came to be called Zoar. As the sun rose upon the earth, Lot entered Zoar. The Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah sulfurous fire from the Lord out of heaven. He annihilated those cities and the entire plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities and the vegetation of the ground. Lot's wife looked back, and she thereupon turned into a pillar of salt. Next morning, Abraham hurried to the place where he had stood before the Lord, and looking down towards Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain, he saw the smoke of the land rising like the smoke of a kiln. Thus it was that when God destroyed the cities of the plains and annihilated the cities where Lot dwelt, God was mindful of Abraham and removed Lot from the midst of the upheaval. Lot went up from Zoar and settled in the hill country with his 2 daughters, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar, and he and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. And the older one said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is not a man on earth to consort with us in all the way of the world. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and let us lie with him, that we may maintain life through our father." That night they made their father drink wine, and the older one went in and lay with her father. He did not know when she lay down or when she rose. The next day the older one said to the younger, "See, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink tonight also, and you go and lie with him, that we may maintain life through our father." That night also they made their father drink wine, and the younger one went in and lay with him. He did not know when she lay down or when she rose. Thus the 2 daughters of Lot came to be with child by their father. The older one bore a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. And the younger one also bore a son, and she called him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Amorites of today. Abraham journeyed from there to the region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While he was sojourning in Gerar, Abraham said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." So King Abimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "You are to die because of the woman that you have taken, for she is a married woman." Now Abimelech had not approached her. He said, "O Lord, will you slay people even though innocent?" He himself said to me, "She is my sister." And she also said, "He is my brother." When I did this, my heart was blameless and my hands were clean. And God said to him in a dream, "I knew that you did this with a blameless heart, and so I kept you from sinning against me. That was why I did not let you touch her. Therefore, restore the man's wife, since he is a prophet. He will intercede for you to save your life. If you fail to restore her, know that you shall die, you and all that are yours." Early the next morning, Abimelech called his servants and told them all that had happened, and the men were greatly frightened. Then Abimelech summoned Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? What wrong have I done that you should bring so great a guilt upon me and my kingdom? You have done to me things that not ought to be done." "What then?" Abimelech demanded of Abraham. "What was your purpose in doing this thing?" "I thought," said Abraham, "surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. And besides, she is in truth my sister, my father's daughter, through not my own mother, and she became my wife. So when God made me wander from my father's house, I said to her, 'Let this be the kindness that you shall do to me. Whatever place we come to, say there of me, he is my brother.' Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham, and restored his wife Sarah to him. And Abimelech said, Here, my land is before you. Settle wherever you please. And to Sarah he said, I herewith give your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. This will serve you as vindication before all who are with you, and you are cleared before everyone. Abraham then prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his slave girls, so that they bore children. For the Lord had closed fast every wound of the household of Abimelech because of Sarah, the wife of Abraham. Chapter 21. The Lord took note of Sarah, as he had promised, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken. Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the time of which God had spoken. Abraham gave his newborn son, whom Sarah had borne to him, in the name of Isaac. And his son Isaac was 8 days old. Abraham circumcised him as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has brought me laughter. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. And she added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would suckle children? Yet I have borne a son in his old age. The child grew up and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. Sarah saw the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham playing. She said to Abraham, cast out that slave woman and her son, for the son of that slave shall not share in the inheritance with my son Isaac. The matter distressed Abraham greatly, for it concerned a son of his. But God said to Abraham, do not be distressed over the boy or your slave. Whatever Sarah tells you, do as she says, for it is through Isaac that offspring shall be continued for you. As for the son of the slave woman, I will make a nation of him too, for he is your seed. Early next morning, Abraham took bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He placed them over her shoulder together with the child and sent her away. She wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba, when the water was gone from the skin. She let the child under one of the bushes, and went and sat down at a distance, a bow shot away, for she thought, let me not look on as the child dies. And sitting thus afar, she burst into tears. God heard the cry of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heeded the cry of the boy where he is. Come, lift up the boy and hold him by hand, for I will make a great nation of him. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went and filled the skin with water and let the boy drink. God was with the boy and he grew up. He dwelt in the wilderness and became a bowman. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, chief of his troops, said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. Therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me or with my Kirth and kin, but will deal with me with the land in which you have sojourned, as loyally as I have dealt with you. And Abraham said, I swear it. And Abraham reproached Abimelech for the well of water which the servants of Abimelech had seen. But Abimelech said, I do not know who did this. You did not tell me, nor have I heard of it until today. Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a pact. Abraham then set 7 ewes of the flock by themselves, And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What mean these 7 ewes which you have set apart?" He replied, "You are to accept these 7 ewes from me as proof that I dug this well." Hence, the place was called Beersheba, for there 2 of them swore an oath. When they had concluded the pact at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, chief of his troops, departed and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk at Beersheba and invoked there the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham resided in the land of the Philistines for a long time. Chapter 22. Sometime afterward, God put Abraham to the test. He said to him, "Abraham," and he answered, "Here I am." And he said, "Take your son, your favorite one, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the heights that I will point out to you." So early next morning, Abraham saddled his ass and took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. He split the wood for the burnt offering, set out for the place on which God had told him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place from afar. Abraham said to his servants, "You stay here with the ass. The boy and I will go up there, and we will worship, and we will return to you." Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and put it on his son Isaac. He himself took the firestone and the knife, and the 2 walked off together. Then Isaac said to his father Abraham, "Father," and he answered, "Yes, my son." And he said, "Here are the firestones and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering?" And Abraham said, "God will see to the sheep for his burnt offering, my son." And the 2 of them walked on together. They arrived at the place which God had told him. Abraham built an altar there. He laid out the wood, and he bound his son Isaac. He laid him on the altar on top of the wood. And Abraham picked up the knife to slay his son. Then an angel of the Lord called to him from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham!" And he answered, "Here I am." And he said, "Do not raise your hand against the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your favorite one, from me." When Abraham looked up, his eye fell upon a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that site Adonai Yiresh, whence the present saying, "On the mount of the Lord there is vision." The angel of the Lord called unto Abraham a second time from heaven and said, "By myself I swear, the Lord declares, because you have done this and not withheld your son, your favored one, I will bestow my blessing upon you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven and the sands of the seashore. And your descendants shall seize the gates of their foes. All the nations of earth shall bless themselves by your descendants, because you have obeyed my command." Abraham then returned to his servants, and they departed together for Beersheba, and Abraham stayed in Beersheba. Sometime later, Abraham was told, "Milcah too has borne children to your brother Nahor. Uz, the firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Kemuel, the father of Aram, and Chezd, Hazo, Pildash, Jiddaph, and Bethuel, Bethuel being the father of Rebekah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Reumah, also bore children, Teba, Gaham, Tahash, and Makkah. And that's the end of the reading for the Torah today. Let's go to 2 Kings for the prophets. Two Kings chapter 4. One to 37. For the prophets, it's 2 Kings chapter 4, 1 to 37. Chapter 4. A certain woman, the wife of the disciples of the prophets, cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know how your servant revered the Lord, and now a creditor is coming to seize my 2 children as slaves." Elisha said to her, "What can I do for you? Tell me, what have you in the house?" She replied, "Your maidservant has nothing at all in the house except a jug of oil." "Go," he said, "and borrow vessels outside from all your neighbors, empty vessels, as many as you can. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your children, and pour oil into all those vessels, removing each one as it is filled." She went away and shut the door behind her and her children. They kept bringing vessels to her, and she kept pouring. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another vessel." He answered her, "There are no more vessels," and the oil stopped. She came and told the man of God, and he said, "Go sell the oil and pay your debt. You and your children can live on the rest." One day, Elisha visited Shunem. A wealthy woman lived there, and she urged him to have a meal. And whenever he passed by, he would stop there for a meal. Once she said to her husband, "I am sure it is a holy man of God who comes this way regularly. Let us make a small enclosed upper chamber, place a bed, a table, a chair, and a lampstand for him, so that he can stop there whenever he comes to us." One day he came there, he retired to the upper chamber and lay down there. He said to his servant Gehazi, "Call that Shunammite woman." He called her, and she stood before him. He said to him, "Tell her, you have gone to all this trouble for us. What can we do for you? Can we speak to your behalf to the king or to the army commander?" She replied, "I live among my own people. What then can I be done for her?" He asked. "The fact is," said Gehazi, "she has no son, and her husband is old." "Call her," he said. He called her, and she stood in the doorway. And Elisha said, "At this season next year, you will be embracing a son." She replied, "Please, my lord, man of God, do not delude your maidservant." The woman conceived and bore a son at the same season the following year, as Elisha had assured her. The child grew up. One day he went out to his father among the reapers. Suddenly he cried to his father, "Oh, my head! Oh, my head!" He said to his servant, "Carry him to his mother." He picked him up and brought him to his mother, and the child sat on her lap until noon, and he died. She took him up and laid to him on the bed of the man of God, and left him and closed the door. Then she called to her husband, "Please, send me one of the servants and one of the she-asses, so I can hurry to the man of God and back." But she said, "Why are you going to him today?" "It is neither new moon nor Sabbath," she answered. "It's all right." She had the ass saddled and said to her servant, "Urge the beast on. See that I don't slow down unless I tell you." She went on until she came to the man of God on Mount Carmel. When the man of God saw her from afar, he said to his servant Gehazi, "There is that Shunammite woman. Go, hurry towards her and ask her, 'How are you? How is your husband? How is the child?' 'We are well,' she replied. But she came up to the man of God on the mountain. But when she came up to the man of God on the mountain, she clasped his feet. Gehazi stopped forward to push her away, but the man of God said, 'Let her alone, for she is in bitter distress. And the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me.' Then she said, 'Did I ask my Lord for a son? Didn't I say, don't mislead me?' He said to Gehazi, 'Tie up your skirts, take my staff in your hand and go. If you meet anyone, do not greet him, and if anyone greets you, do not answer him. And place my staff on the face of the boy.' But the boy's mother said, 'As the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you.' So he arose and followed her. Gehazi had gone on before them and had placed the staff on the boy's face, but there was no sound or response. He turned back to meet him and told him, 'The boy has not awakened.' Elisha came into the house, and there was the boy laid out dead on the couch. He went in, shut the door behind the two of them, and prayed to the Lord. Then he mounted the bed and placed himself over the child. He put his mouth on his mouth, his eyes on its eyes, and his hands on its hands, and he bent over it. And the body of the child became warm. He stepped down, walked up and down the room, then mounted and bent over him. Thereupon the boy sneezed 7 times, and the boy opened his eyes. Elisha called Gehazi, and he said, 'Call the Shunammite woman.' And she called her, and he called her. When she came to him, he said, 'Pick up your son.' She came and fell at his feet and bowed low to the ground. Then she picked up her son and left. And that's the Torah reading for today. Thank you for listening. Have a good Shabbat.